Good evening. Welcome to the June 28th meeting of the Select Board. We'll start with roll call attendance, starting to my left.
Select person Sakosha, 21 James Henry Drive, Barrington, New Hampshire.
Dan Air, 334 Old Concord Turnpike.
Dan Manchurick, 3 Screw Pound Road.
And Andrew, 96 Lindsay Point. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Except this time,
All right. We don't have any public hearings this evening. And tonight is the first night of our consent agenda, official night of our consent agenda.
Agenda review, and I actually have 2 things.
Oh, sorry.
Jumping ahead. Oh, it's the first time.
So agenda review and approval, the administrator's report, I'm assuming. I will turn it over to you to say what you want to say.
Yeah, so just a review for everybody. This would be the time during the meeting if you wanted to add anything that's not on the agenda, we can cover that, or adjust anything that was added to the consent agenda. Just one board member could pull anything off the consent agenda to consider specifically if you wanted to. I actually have 2 things that I'd like to ask the board to consider adding just for efficiency's sake. We had a raffle permit come in today. Opposed to waiting till July. I'd ask the board to consider adding the raffle permit for the American Legion Auxiliary to the consent agenda as letter G, if there's no objection. And then the second thing is our attorney let us know today that there's still 2 properties that we're undergoing evictions on. The next step, which we would start tomorrow, today is the notice to vacate day, is to proceed with the landlord tenant writ. So I'd like to add that to old business for the select board to consider and vote on, if the select board is willing to take that up tonight.
Landlord tenant
Writ, W-R-I-T.
How's the board feel about that?
No.
You want to talk about it, or do you want to add it to the consent agenda?
Oh,
Or no, that one's not to the.
Oh, I'm
consent
sorry.
agenda.
No, that goes to old business.
sorry. I agree about the raffle too.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with both.
And so as a matter of practice, I've got a motion in my town administrator report to approve the agenda as amended. So I think it'd be good practice to have somebody make that motion and before we move on to solidify the agenda as presented and amended.
We have first.
I would.
We have amend the agenda to include the raffle permit as in the consent agenda, and you add the landlord tenant writ in old business.
Sounds like a motion.
Sounds like a motion. 1 second. All right, roll call vote.
Oh, and check on.
Air aye.
Sakosha.
Nap aye.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks.
So agenda has been amended and approved.
I move we accept the consent agenda as amended.
All right. Is there anything anybody wants to pull off of the consent agenda? Nope.
I'll figure this out. I'm all set.
Okay, so hearing none, I'll second the motion to approve the consent agenda. Roll call vote.
And check on.
There, I.
Sakosha.
Nap aye. All right, so consent agenda items have all been approved
Correct.
and voted as an approval on, just to make sure everybody's clear. Great. All right. I feel like I'm missing a public comment here.
After appointments.
For appointments, Chief Joy, our police chief's Oh, I am struggling here. Contract has been extended through June 20th, 2024. And is there any discussion that we need to have around it?
I think when we last had this meeting, we approved it, but he had not signed it, so actually what we're doing is he's confirming that he actually approved.
Has everybody been to and signed the document that was in town hall?
The only one who has it is George.
So it has its minimum of 3 signatures.
Yeah, no, and just as select board member Manfred, an announcement to the community, letting them know that after an 18-month term, the police chief's contract has been extended for 3 years, mutually agreeable fashion. For those that don't know, Chief Joy started in Barrington in 1999. He spent his entire police career serving the community of Barrington. Looks forward to continue doing so. So we're glad to have him here for at least a few more years.
I think everybody is.
Absolutely.
We look forward to having you. So advisory budget committee recommendations. The advisory budget committee, I believe, met and went over the recommendations that are presented here in front of everyone. Looking to recommend the following folks to seats on the advisory budget committee. Michael House with a term expiring in March of 2024. Scott Shepard with a term expiring in March of 2023. Dan Mantrek, who is also the advisory budget committee member for the select board, will be an alternate with a term expiring in March of 2022. And Robert Hackett is an alternate with a term expiring in March of 2022.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the advisory budget committee appointment recommendations.
Second the motion, roll call vote.
Aaron.
Scotia.
Now, fantastic. All right. Public comment, the first of 2 public comments.
And we do have some folks participating virtually. So anybody participating virtually, if you'd like to put your hand up, unmute your microphone, and wait for the chair to call on you. He can address you to offer comment virtually. And anybody that'd like to participate in public comment in person here, you can have a seat at the table there, and we'll turn on the camera for you. This microphone will pick you up. Just check the chat.
Don't be shy over there, guys.
Yep. So I don't see anybody unmuting themselves here. Give it your discretion how long you'd like to wait.
Figure we'll give them another 15 seconds.
Great. I'll use that time to let you know that we are streaming the video on Facebook Live right now. I don't know if we have anybody. Looks like we have 6 people watching us on Facebook Live. If any of those folks want to participate virtually in a future meeting, you'll need to join the Microsoft Teams platform.
That's the purchase.
Great. All right. That will conclude public agenda. I will close public agenda, and we'll move into staff reports.
Fantastic. So you'll see the June work anniversaries listed. I read through those at the first meeting in June. I will just point out that I did correct that our esteemed sergeant, one of our esteemed sergeants, Eric Baker, his position title was corrected for the record. The only other item that I have is just notification of a noise ordinance waiver, which I issued. I provided a link to the full noise ordinance in my report. The noise ordinance allows a waiver process that puts the police chief and or town administrator in the position to be able to issue a waiver to the noise ordinance following a process. In this case, the waiver was issued for 53 Weeks Lane for July 10th, 2021 for a wedding. So notices were sent to all abutters soliciting comment. We gave them 2 weeks to comment. Didn't hear from anybody except for one neighbor that said, "I'm thrilled they're using my yard for parking." So I'm aware and supportive. And so they don't anticipate violating the noise ordinance, but they just want to work out of an abundance of caution.
Well, noise ordinance is 7 to 9, so they plan going after 9 at night, or?
They said 10. They thought it might go through 10. They live on a large property and there are butters. It's over near Round Pond off Weeks Lane. So they don't have close butters. And even if they do continue past 9, the sound might not even be loud enough that their property line to violate the noise ordinance. But
Well, congratulations.
awesome. And that's all I have. Thank you. Municipal Office Administrator Cottle.
I have that.
All right.
This is easy. And I will just point out, obviously the board's aware, but for the community's benefit, you'll find that the items that we request for signature are listed on the consent agenda now. We feel like this is a better way to provide transparency for the community opposed to just reading through them at a meeting. So they'll be listed ahead of time. And so that information is good. Thank you.
Under old business, the Goodwill Forest Stewardship Plan and Activities. Connor, do you want to kind of run everybody through
Yes.
plan around this and parking and all of that?
Right. So just briefly, the Town Lands Committee, Conservation Commission, and Select Board worked collaboratively a couple years ago to develop forest stewardship plans for Goodwill, the town forest, and the property behind the highway garage. So the priority of those 3 properties was the Goodwill Conservation Area. You'll remember that the town successfully expanded this, over doubled the acreage of Goodwill. And so one of the primary objectives of the forest stewardship on this property is to expand it for recreation. So to build trails, build a trail system and access network throughout the new property, and also develop an access point parking area from the Ross Road side. So you can take access from Route 9 or the Ross Road side. There's also timber in there that needs to come out and will generate some revenue. So all the revenue generated from this activity will be deposited, collected as general fund revenue simply to offset the tax rate. And so the forester said, hey, look, the logger can pay to have the gravel trucked in to build the parking area, buy the gravel and take it off what the proceeds would be for the logging activities. Or the town, through its highway department, could buy the gravel at its rate, truck it in, they'd still build the parking area and save a little bit of money on the purchase of that equipment or that material and trucking. So that's really the request before the select board tonight. If you're interested in doing that, I think it's in the town's best interest. It'll derive us more revenue from the proceeds and would be a good thing for the town.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the Goodwill Forest Stewardship Plan Activities.
With the highway department, with the gravel and delivering the gravel.
Yes.
Second, for construction and conservation park.
And so I have a first and a second on it. Roll call vote.
Sure, guy.
Air I. Scotia.
Nap aye.
I heard there was snowmobile trails on there.
I can't speak confidently, sorry.
Yes.
But that's a private organization, I think. What permission from the. Whoa. Somebody else?
2021 paving update and the public safety building parking lot.
Yeah, all the information's in there. We're getting through paving very efficiently with the diligence of our road agent, Mark Morrow, and the work of advanced paving. So we think as the conservative estimate right now is we'll be able to get everything we have, even adding the 2 roads for about $745,000. Similar to what we did last year, Mark approached Advance and said, hey, the public safety building parking lot's been on our back burner for a while. Will you hold the straight line pricing on that parking area? And Chief Walker said the last time the town got a quote to grind and pave that was $85,000. So Advance is willing to hold the straight line pricing. They've got the equipment in town and do it for about $54,000. We're planning on 60. So we think that this is a great opportunity to do it before oil prices continue to go up. We've taken care of the paving we plan to do So just asking for your support to take that balance that we have available and put it towards that paving project.
I'd like to make a motion to discussion.
Yes, discussion, before we make a motion. So I just want to make sure both chiefs are fully on board with it and have an active way to manage their departments, knowing that these are going to be, that they're likely going to pave the entire thing in one day. That's going to require, obviously, probably doing one side of it and the other side of it to do it. So.
And Chief Joy is on, and he let me know that he had something to say about an agenda item earlier. So if you'd like, willing to allow him to address both points.
Yep, I would absolutely. Chief Joy?
Short and sweet. I'll make the first part quickest. Thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me to serve. I've enjoyed the last 22 plus years and look forward to the next.
The next 22, that's what I heard.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
taking notes?
Everyone heard it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wrote it down.
As far as the paving goes, we are fully on board. It needs to be done, and I'll make sure my staff is prepared for it. If Mark would be so kind, we may utilize his facility. There's plenty of spots over there, hopefully, if he can accommodate us, and we'll just ferry people back and forth. We'll make it work on our end.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that parking lot really needs to be done, so I appreciate you folks considering.
Chief Walker?
Yeah, go up
Please.
there and just mouse over the camera, turn the camera on. This microphone. Be just like you're at home.
I was like, you're asking. The chief.
Well, I mean, we've been
You
doing it this
you
way
set
a
'em
while. I was just,
Hey, he
Oh,
go on
yeah,
Facebook.
it does look a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll just go. Oh.
So, having been around there when we sealed that a number of years ago, if we'll, on the side yard, there's room to put vehicles and let them sit during the day. If they have to be away overnight, then I'll work with the highway department, see if we can get into the garage over there. And I agree with Chief Joy that we'll make it work if it needs to be done.
Dan?
Yeah, I sent an email out to Connor and Mr. Walker and just told him, right now, it just needed repair, it's not beyond repair. We go much further, and we'll be scrambling and stuff, it's just time to do it. Thank you.
I would just also ask that the board would certainly during budget times after that's done, please put in the budget appropriately to have that sealed on an as-needed basis. Whether it's every 2 years or 3 years, but once it's done, we should seal that and take care of it. Part of the problem with the park lot being the way it is today is we didn't take care of it. And, so I think sealing it is short money and it needs to be done, and certainly I would leave that to the road agent or the people that do that stuff. But it's disheartening to me that we didn't take care of it before, and it's now we're here. But I would just people should consider budgeting we should take care of.
I second that.
Yeah, I think it would be good if we could have Mark, I think Mark's working on this anyway, to set up all these plans and project out like we do for the budget for the police and the fire department, which they've done really well to project what the costs are going to be 4, 5, 6 years, 10 years down the line. And I think Mark can probably, I think he's working on that anyway, but I think that would be a useful thing to have all those paving projects projected out in the next 10 years. I think he should be able to do that. Not that it's locked in stone, but it's a way that we can then make sure that we have enough capital reserve to cover those things.
Probably definitely going, probably not something tackle right off. But yeah, I like that. I mean, plan.
Well, that's what we've done with the fire department and police, is project the those costs out.
Yeah,
The budget committee's been working on that.
I agree with
You've done, for me, I've done that really well, and I think Mark, I think, is working on that anyway.
yeah.
So it would be good to have that in this budgeting process, to have a plan so we can work on the capital reserve, cover those costs.
Select person there.
Since I'm a simple person, the striping line and the seal line should be combined. They're gonna go together, and then there's a budgeted for that. Because you gotta seal it, then you gotta stripe it, so that would be one budget.
Yeah, well, that's what I would think, but I mean, again,
So then we know.
if we can start right now to project those costs out into,
Just increase the striping line.
however you do it, it's just, we need to have projection, I think, of what these projects are gonna be 5, 6, 7 years out.
So I have a motion,
There we go.
looking for a second. Have a second. Roll call vote.
Yeah, right.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, we can do it in American Sign Language.
Jay?
Yeah. Aye.
Aye as well. All right, so that was motioned by select person Sakosha and seconded by select person Manshreck. Just have it for the record. Updated agenda format and discussion.
Really
So,
just for Jim, if there's anything you wanted to add.
No, we kind of cleared that up earlier.
how does everybody feel like this is moving so far?
Let's keep it going.
Clean, simple. New business, the public safety ultra terrain vehicle specifications.
So pretty straightforward. Jim had a chance to take a look. Would just like to advertise this. We'll bring the decision back before the board.
And you reviewed this, Jim?
Good. Looks good. See what we can get. It's available.
Okay.
Move that we authorize advertising the TV for specifications.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Aye, check.
Yeah, right.
Sakosha,
No, because I voted against it the first time around.
I know you did.
Public safety and highway department road closures, discussion around signage, visibility is, I am just losing it.
Well, I think we can keep it quick. I think select person Air wanted this on an agenda to get it out in the community sphere, that the board would kind of like the town to do a better job communicating to residents when roads are closed or detours. And so I think the highway department, public safety will work in preparation for the budget process to prepare a way to improve that process, maybe acquiring some new signage or improved signage for that.
Is Mark on, and does he have anything he would like to share or add to this discussion?
He is on.
Hi, Mark.
Hi. So yeah, I mean, can we do a better job at traffic control? Sure. The problem is the mentality of most of the drivers out here, the motor of the public. They'd rather kill you than stop for you or wait for you. So we're really going to have to raise the bar as far as mechanisms that we use to do these road closures or detours. And I hate to say it, but part of the arsenal is going to have to include electronic message boards and basically electronic flaggers or electronic stop signs either side of a work zone, where it alternates from a green light to a red light and then back and forth. In order to do the job, 2 of these signboards I don't think would be enough. I think you need to go 4. And these could be used not only by the highway department, could also be used by public safety. If there was an extended road closure due to an accident, or whatever, they could just, they'd be in a central place. They could just latch onto them, move them where they need them, set them up, program them, and then you're covered. Will these things stop the motorists from getting irritated with us? Absolutely not. Will they make us any safer? Probably not. Will they keep you selectmen from getting phone calls because people just plain don't want to wait and don't want to be inconvenienced for 2 seconds? Probably not. You're still going to get the calls. But what it will do, it will boilerplate out the town's liability. It will keep litigation from being able to use the excuse, well, they didn't have signs, they didn't have this, they didn't have that. So it'll bolster our liability protection. I got some prices on those signs. If we've got 4 of them, they're like $16,000, about $17,000 a piece for a real good one. So that puts you up around.
Mark, I think we get the gist of it.
Got $64,000.
Yeah.
Yep. So, we're either going to do it or we ain't. Don't know what to tell you.
Okay. Select person there.
No, I never get a written complaint on for anyone. People come back, same old thing. Same old, that's why I just mentioned it to staff. Is there an answer, a solution? And then I have old dump trucks, you don't go that fast. I go down the highway, they pass me in the breakdown lane, they come up on there and tailgate me and stuff, but I had to have a nice radio on it, so it doesn't really bother me. With the concerns of people and stuff, people don't have the patience and stuff, and you try to explain to them. Even with their signage, cones and stuff, it's still a challenge. But I brought the residents' concerns forward. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank
Yep.
you for the discussion.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
You may, George.
So I'm just going to echo some of what Mark said. We have a scenario in the middle of the day, call it the middle of the night even, when we have a road closure on pick your main route. I have at best, call it 4 officers on at one time. If you have a significant accident, all 4 of those staff are going to be involved in some form of the investigation. Those signs will allow us to at least detour something. It's not going to let us hit every intersection, but we can get people to the general area. So again, from a police standpoint, absolutely valuable. I agree 100% with Mark. It's not going to stop any of the above, but at least we can get people better off than just pointing and sending.
Thank you.
How many cruisers have trailer hitches?
Highway department, probably.
Staff vehicle.
Yeah, then on staff, IMC.
Now we're down to the fire truck, rescue truck, and does the pickup truck have it? So you got 2. Right. And they're and if there's a scene, they're probably gonna be on it already.
Them two.
No, but the staff to drive it will be.
So we can consider that for flexibility and delivery if identified as a concern.
Well, yeah, and is there a way that we could collaboratively go to each department and go, okay, you're gonna divvy up $5,000 and you're gonna divvy up 5 and pool it all together? I mean, I'm sure, but it'd be unfair to come at somebody's budget directly.
Absolutely.
What person there?
Well, thinking ahead out of the box, it might be the future too, like a lean-to off the garage out back and maybe store under cover there. Or somebody to store and cover, so it'd be whoever the staff thinks the best place for it to be, easiest to get to it. That might not be the place, I don't know. Somewhere, where staff feels to be a real central place for it. Thank you.
We can work through that.
Where in the budget is this going to come out of? My question.
It's a good question.
Well, we added the budget.
Talk about that in budget season.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You know,
I mean, we need to think about the budget.
Or do you look at, do you potentially use like your UTV trailer and you set it up to have sandwich boards and detour signs and other things that you can stage out there that are high vis and that are, because here's the piece I struggle with is I don't see somebody dragging that out at 10 o'clock at night and then sitting there with a programming key, typing in what they need to
Old school, no maintenance on signs.
Well,
still got program to say like
Not
detour
signs and cones,
here, go there, do
Not signs
whatever.
and cones.
electronic signs.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. No, I know, that's what I'm talking about is electronic signs.
Chief Joy, how many of these big wheel deal accidents do we get? I mean, are we seeing these on a weekly basis or bi-weekly, bi-monthly?
Again, it depends on the year. Thankfully, we've gone, well, we went through 2020 without a fatal accident. We had a couple majors, but no fatals. And we've already had one this year. So we can go a long span of time without a major accident. And then unfortunately, we could have, knock on wood, multiple this summer within the next couple months. You can generally at least count on half a dozen good road closure wrecks anyway, even if they're not necessarily serious bodily injury or a fatal. But we have enough to make them useful. Again, we can do it with staff. We've done it for the 22 years that I've been around, but this is certainly going to make it easier and more manageable for the public.
If we think, I mean, it's something to definitely keep discussing about, maybe come back with a solid plan and reach out to the departments that think it'll be beneficial. Maybe the school will want to throw us some money too, in case, you know,
Right.
they want to put one out for parent-teacher conferences or whatever. And then I would come back and, because I mean, it's hard for me to go, okay, let's do 70 grand worth of signage to when, you know, yeah, it's going to be hard. I see Andy's point of yanking one out at midnight or even 5 o'clock on a Friday. You know, and I think all our, for the most part, I mean, yeah, you're going to be there for maybe an hour or two, everybody full board, but it goes fatal. It could be hours before somebody comes down, before investigation. And I mean, are we mainstream? Are we Detroit? No, but, you know, some of the people coming up from other states, you know, it could be a lot too. For a small town. So I see it both ways, but it's just hard for me to go, yeah, let's go yank 70 grand and go do that. The signs. But I don't know how much it would cost to have an officer there either. I mean, there's a lot to, you know, look at as far as numbers. Because I mean, yeah, is it 60 grand, but will that 60 grand be well worth it? Could definitely, you know, we're not paying somebody to sit there time and a half or whatever to do a road detail. I mean, wouldn't, you know.
So another way you want to look at this is these message boards will allow us to basically alert the public days before a road closure, if, you know, as long as it's something that we can predict, you know, like if we're going to be reclaiming and repaving, you know, like either Malago or Kate Road, like we just did. If we set the signboards up days in advance and just have these things flashing, you know, road closed, you know, Monday or whatever, you know, at least then anybody that's going to be using that road on a daily basis is going to get the message, and they're going to at least hopefully make plans to detour. As it is now, all we really have for any kind of early warning is, you know, Erin will blast the stuff out to the media as best as she can, but it's not going to reach everybody. At least if you've got an arrow board or a message board at each end of this project, anybody that's going to be traveling that road every day is going to see it, and hopefully they'll pay attention to it.
Mark, at one point, there was a signboard that went out that they were changing the dates on, saying road closure, and they would adjust the dates. based on when it was. Do we not have that anymore?
No, that,
Don't mind
that's.
them.
State.
Probably did.
Up on 126.
No, this was, it was used when they did the bridge on
Oh.
Young Road.
They rented it.
That would have been a rental.
It was a wooden sign, I believe. It was a regular, like, sandwich.
Yeah, that was done, put in by the company that did the work, just like New Road has got, you see the detour signs on 125 in the road, that's the company that was.
Okay.
Well, just real quick, I mean, I know it's big getting stuff out there to people, but also you gotta think as a town collectively, yeah, you know, it's not just a set it and forget it world. I mean, you also have to go, all right, let's look at where I live. Yeah, it's construction time, paving, let's kind of look into the town too, because if they're blasting it on the media, people aren't seeing the basic signs up or knowing that people are paving around town, don't see the trucks. I mean, you know, if we put it out there, I mean, we can't go door to door telling everybody going, hey, you know, pay attention. So, I mean, I think a lot of this falls back on people paying attention too. But, you know, same thing, we ran across it with voting day. You know, a lot of people are like, well, I didn't know about it. Well, you know, the town votes on this day every year for the last so many years. You know, that's a thing, but, you know, you put it out on blast, people still don't hear it. They have to take responsibility.
Select person Mentrick.
Yeah, I think one of the problems that Walker brought up too is there are people commuting through town or they're coming, they live on one side of town and we're talking about the other side of town. But if they see the sign 2 or 3 days before it happened, I think Mark said that gives them a clue and they can make plans. That they don't necessarily pick it up on the various media.
Right.
Yeah, one of the calls I got was, for regimented school. When the school teachers don't know 125 during traffic. But staff responded really very quickly and addressed the concerns.
I think that's my concern, is the signboard doesn't solve the directing traffic component of it.
And then 2, we don't need, I know we budget 2, then we didn't budget for the rental. So we don't have 4, then we can work up to 4, we need them. But we budget for 2 and then money for rental.
I would even start with 1 just to see what the use is out of it, see if we use it, see how it sustains, and then add to the fleet from there instead of buying all these new things and then being like, well, they just sit there now.
Right.
Let's send them to auction. Let's get 1/3 of what we paid for them, and then.
Well, that was gonna be my comment. If I see them online all the time used for anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000.
But then again, you also have the maintenance aspect.
Solar.
I know a good electrician, can't talk about that. But you know, does Mark have the guys on staff that could go and fix those? You know what I mean? Do we want to be dealing with that? That's the, you know, going into it, do you buy used, buy new? But I would say, hey, you know, if everybody's really happy and eager about it, let's go out, buy a decent used one or a new one, and then see the usage it gets. And if it doesn't get used, we sell it. Or if it gets used, we get another one if we need another one, being like, hey, this is working out great. We're getting back a bunch of positive feedback from the residents and everybody in town, and it's working better for the community, because that's what we're here to do. But if it's gonna do anything but waste money, that's not what I'm gonna do.
Chief Walker? You can do it.
Just a second.
So I just want to echo what Chief Joy said. I know that people complain when we have motor vehicle accidents, and it's amazing the number of people that we can stand there and try to tell them, hey, you know, take a left right here, follow it to the stop sign, take a right, take another right, then you'll be back where you are, and they'll be down the road 2 miles and go, I couldn't find what you wanted. And unfortunately, nobody has the staff to be able to put somebody at an intersection. I think it's important to understand that, you know, we'll shut a road down to make sure that it's safe for fire and EMS and police to work at a scene to safely get the people out of the vehicles, because the problem is that people will ride by and they're more interested in the accident, the people that are moving around. It becomes very dangerous. But we also understand, and we've have a good reputation in this town, as soon as we can open a lane up and get one lane moving and get traffic moving, we really want to do that, because none of us like to sit in traffic either. But inevitably, we have situations in which trees come down and wires, and that road has to stay closed till Eversource gets here, or if we have a really bad accident or a fatal accident, the road has to stay closed so that a proper investigation can be done to help determine liability. So there's certain, I mean, it's important, and I think people understand. As soon as we can safely get a lane open or two lanes open, we always do that. And the times we have to leave the road closed, our hands are tied. And, we're going to depend on, I think we should sit down and look at this in a broad scope and look at what we need to do. I think there's a combination of things we need to do. And if there's going to be long-term shutdowns, I can say this from my perspective. I'm going to be calling the highway department and saying, at 2:00 in the morning, I need you to come down and get some signs put up and get this road closed. And that's probably how it's going to end up happening. But that takes a little time to get the people out and get them moving. So it's incumbent on us, the emergency services side, to try to gauge how long the road's going to be closed. We're only going to be closed an hour by the time they get the signs put up and open the road in 10 minutes. We just got to I've been a proponent of getting some signs, and I don't necessarily disagree if we could pick up a couple of used ones and try them and see if they work, then certainly do that. I think we got to do something to most certainly limit the town's liability. I really care a little bit less about keeping people stopped as I do about making sure that we're limiting liability on the part of the town to safely operate, whether it's firefighters, police, or the construction workers on the side.
So from a liability end, that can be resolved as simple as a whole lot of cones.
3 signs, phones, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really basic level to liability.
Well, you still gotta have flags. Cones typically don't.
Not if you're closing the road, you don't. You close it at the corner, you put a detour sign out, you got a whole bunch of cones and a sign.
Well, the road was closed earlier this year, and the highway worker was injured because somebody drove through a closed road.
But it wasn't closed. The road was not closed at the time.
It was closed at the time.
Well,
That's a different discussion. We'll have to have.
no, it might be closed, but further notice coming up on it. I think maybe whatever it's initial, but
I think we're getting a little off course here,
If a
guys.
road's closed, you shouldn't even be able to get to the people.
well, I'm just telling you,
There's a whole different discussion to be had there then.
People will want to go.
And they're gonna go around a blinking sign sitting there.
The more information they have, the
um,
safer we probably are.
So I think we're going down a rabbit hole here. We've kind of exhausted the general conversation. It gives something for everyone to go back and look at and come forward with some potential ideas and dig into some more information. So I'm gonna cut the conversation off at this point.
the one quick thing. I never got written. So maybe I need some written statements. Like, for example, what their exact concerns are, so it's kind of taking me off track, what was brought up, but report.
So moving on from the Highway Department road closure discussion into select persons' reports and concerns. Select person air.
I guess one was addressed already. But the conservation met right here in this room. Had a good meeting and stuff, just basic stuff. We went over a couple of things. And there was a concern on the Holly Lane that's been addressed. And then, the closing of Layton property was, on the 19th or the 29th, I think it was the 19th, so. And, there was supposed to be a photo shoot last week, or today, I'm not sure,
Did you get any good shots?
no. We're a small, took a small part in that purchase, $10,000. It was like 1.4 million purchase, 1.2, 1.3 was there. And then the town lands, we met, regroup on, Carrier Drive. And that's very, very interesting over there and stuff, so, we regroup, refocus, and we get back on track. There's gonna be a lot of homework needs to be before we say anything. That's it.
Select person Bailey isn't here, so select person Mantra.
The advisory budget committee met, and you have minutes in your packet. Won't have to go through that again. Although maybe of interest, that requested a kind of a 3-year look at where we are at this particular point, knowing that last year was an anomaly. So that might be useful for all of us at some point to show up here. School board met on the 15th of June. Of interest perhaps is that the enrollments already for kindergarten are at over 100. They're usually around 86 at this point. So we may be seeing a major increase over the next 10 years and next 15 years of people coming into the school. Probably will reflect in the budget at some point.
Yeah, it's here.
Yeah, the cost of high school is already up because of that. And Miss Nurse D. Swain was given the Excellent in Education 2021 by the Barrington School Foundation. Summer school is cranking. And they will meet again next Tuesday. The budget committee will meet probably in August to do an orientation for the new members. And the transfer station did not meet, will meet ad hoc needed.
One thing, COVID-19, people stay at home.
Well, that's true.
That's coming.
Yeah.
Select person Sakosha.
So today at the rec, kicked off the first day of summer camp. It was a hot one, but they got through it. They're also doing a flag football this year. So super excited about that. You guys know I'm a football guy, but all's well and good at the rec. Nothing too crazy and exciting.
So planning board was last Tuesday, 2 weeks ago. We haven't met since our prior meeting, and there is no other meeting this month. So no follow-up action there. I do have to reach out to the library. Interesting experience where an individual had reached out to see about getting something notarized. Went there to get it notarized during the time that they told them to show up to get it notarized. Apparently the notary was outside working. At the time they couldn't find the notary, that saw the notary outside, went outside to get the notary to come in, and the notary said, "I'm too busy, come back later." So didn't really create a very good experience for one of our residents. So that's about it. Nothing else in select board reports from my end. Oh, I did have one other item. Just there's been a lot of scuttlebutt, I guess, through Facebook, and it's something that I actually had talked to Chief Joy a little bit today and told him I wanted to connect with him on a couple of different items. But Hall Road seems to be coming up. I guess there was an accident up there this past week, and there were kind of a whole litany of comments talking about speed
Yeah, there was
on
a
Hall
couple weeks ago,
Road.
there was a good one too.
Yep. So, but I'll take that offline with the chief and connect with him and see if he has heard of it or I'm sure he's aware of the accident, but just the general scuttlebutt about the speed on Hall Road. So that was all I had. Before our final public comment with the two properties, one being on Berry River Road and the other one being Longshore Drive that were taken in 2010 for back taxes and are currently undergoing the eviction process, today being the deadline for the eviction that we talked about. In order to proceed to the next step, filing the landlord-tenant writ that Connor alluded to earlier. The select board is asked to make sure that we vote to move forward on the condition that owed taxes and fees are not paid by midnight tonight. So with that, I will make the motion to proceed with the writ.
I will second.
And Turcott.
Air I.
Scotia.
Nap aye. All right, final public comment.
15 seconds.
We'll watch the. Melissa, I see your hand up. You would unmute.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Great. My name is, I'm Melissa Hewitt, the director of the Barrington Public Library, and I just wanted to hop on real quick and let everyone know that today was the start of our 2021 summer reading program. The theme for this year is Tales and Tales, as in animal tales and fairy tales. And we have a bunch of activities planned for everyone, all ages. So we encourage you to look at our calendar of events to see what's coming up. Some interesting things such as a live training with some animals from the New England Aquarium tomorrow. We have a performance on Friday night over in the fields near the playground that starts at 6. That's a picnic, pack your own picnic and come have dinner in the field and watch the show. And that's that so far for the summer reading program. And I also wanted to address.
I was just asking what the show was for Friday night.
Oh, sorry. The show is Lindsay and her Puppet Pals.
Thank you. Excellent.
See anybody else over there?
No, it was just Melissa, but I didn't think she was complete at that point.
Yeah. Melissa, you still? You're
I'm still here. Yeah, sorry. I wasn't keeping time either. I also wanted to just quickly address the comment.
Yep, I can reach out to you about it, Melissa, if you would like.
Sure. I think there was a misunderstanding because I literally was not on the property until the people walked out the door. So, and I was the only person on staff that day that was a notary because we've had some people out, whether they've been out on personal leave or on vacation. So, yes, I'll be more than happy to address anything that may have been an issue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see anyone else. Give it 15 more seconds. All right, I'm going to close public comment. I don't have anything listed for non-public, so no non-public session. So I'll be looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'm adjourned.
I'll second.
First by Dannon, seconded by Jim. Roll call vote.
And Turcott.
Air I.
Scotia.
Nap aye. Thank you very much, and everyone have a good evening.
You as well.
Woo-hoo.